Are you ready? Hey, we'll get ready. Hey, are you ready? Hey, we'll get ready. Hey, are you ready? Hey, we'll get ready. Hey, are you ready? Hey, we'll get ready. Hey.
What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Welcome to Live with Kyrus. So good to have everybody on here tonight and, just step in and say hello. So send in your questions. This is a live Q&A, and I'm just excited to have everybody on here tonight and just talk about, are you loyal or not? We're coming from Dr. Emerson Eggerich's book, The Love She Most Desires and the Respect He Desperately Needs. And this week, we're just talking from the women's standpoint and men, kind of how to love your wives and getting some different perspectives on, are you loyal and are you showing esteem? So I wanted to go ahead and introduce all my panel guests. Super happy to see everybody. I have my parents here, Pastor Kyrus and Deacon Brian, Indy and Brian Lewis. Jonelle Bales and Aaron and Kelsey is in class, so be praying for her tonight on this panel. So I'm just kind of excited to see what everybody has to say, and I want to know your thoughts on some things, because when we talk about loyalty, it's most importantly, she needs to know you're committed. So we're talking from a commitment standpoint, and then when we talk about esteem, she wants to know that you honor and cherish her. So it's kind of like, it sounds so good to be written down on paper, but not a lot of us actually feel that way. And we've been in tons of relationships where we haven't felt that way too. So I'm kind of trying to figure out what is the general consensus of what's good, what's not good. And I just need everybody to, kind of chime in, because I want to know what's going on and what your thoughts are. So, we've got Martia in here and Francine. So, hey guys. Love you guys. Send in your questions to the panel tonight, because we're answering hard questions, especially to some of you who are in relationships and need some help and assistance. So the first question that I want to ask Deacon Brian is, what are your first impressions of the idea that a wife needs reassurance of her husband's love? And then Aaron, I want to see what you have to say.
Well, I believe that she definitely does, because everyone wants to feel loved and appreciated.
Right.
And as a man, you have to make sure that you're being attentive and there for the ask the question, for her to ask the questions too, and you're there to try to answer the question, help reason things out, and just to be compassionate, let them know that you support her.
Right. Okay, Aaron, what is your thought?
I agree. I just think it's something that it's needed. We need to be intentional about that, and so just being intentional about making sure that you are verbal about, saying how important they are and how you respect them and how you just thank them for the kind of work that they're doing or whatever it is that they're doing, the little things. I just think it's super duper important to do that.
But is it? And then I know how. Okay, so I know you didn't mean. Aaron, hello? You're muted.
Yeah.
Oh, were you saying something else?
Oh,
okay. I know how. So to some people, though, when you hear that term, we don't always think that that's something that's needed, or we think it's something that should be just an automatic insight, automatic point. Pastor Kyrus, when you're coming from years of marriage, is that something that could really make or break a marriage? And not just loyalty, as in, I know you have my back, but being able to be comfortable with your spouse working around other women, or and Deacon Brian, your spouse working around other men, because that they're not going to stray. And I think that's something that a lot of people truly struggle with, and the insecurities that come up when you're in a committed relationship. You don't always know how that's going to go. But from you guys being married, and then Jonelle, I'd like to hear your take from your past marriage, and just what good advice could you give, or how would you guide a young man or a young woman to say, hey, this is how you should handle that, so you're not just ruining your marriage and causing divots,
I'll let her go first.
Okay. I think it depends on the relationship. And the reason I say that is, So we've been married 35 and a half years. So we kind of have seen it all. But what I'm trying to say, but and experience a lot. But what I'm saying is, it just depends on the relationship and how your significant other has made you feel. If there's never been a time where that person has strayed or looked away or pretended that he was going, or even you thought that he was going to, I think it means a lot as far as how you feel secure with that person. So I can't say in every situation that you have always that you can always say, oh, I feel secure about it, I'm not worried about it. You kind of have to know your spouse, and you have to there's history there. So, but if you've never had a problem with it, I don't think it's difficult. But if you've ever had something to come up or some type of problem, I think it can be difficult, and it makes you feel like you need to be reassured. You need to figure out what's going on, who you talking to, where are you, what are you doing. That kind of thing comes up depending on the relationship. So it just depends on the relationship.
Okay, Radia said, I'm right behind Pastor Kai. Hey, Radia.
Yeah.
And Terry Benjamin said, Happy New Year, Deacon. Terry, what about the rest of us? It's a new year for us all. Okay, and Robert Class said, communication is the key. You're right, sister. So when it comes to that, Daddy, like, what are your thoughts when you're working around the opposite sex and just being able to be secure, or letting that person know that, hey, I got you? Like, what's some good advice you could give some young people so that security could be there?
Well, I understand that it's hard, especially when you've been in a relationship so long, and people tend to get a little older, and everything changes as you get a little older, and you see some person that's around us, that's attractive, young lady or whatever. Even it could be an attractive guy,
Who you seeing?
And I'm just saying, I had to explain to my wife that, look, I work on cars, I do different things through the week. And the majority of the time, there's a lot of single women out here that really need help, and I can't stand and see them get taken advantage of. So I'm quick to say, okay, let me give you a hand or give you some advice on this. So sometimes she takes it like, okay, well, you don't have to help everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, but I don't never know who is the wrong person to help, because I'm just genuinely trying to help. And I tell her, if you don't feel I'm being straight out, come with me, But you have to reassure them and let them know that at the end of the day, I'm gonna come home with a story or some money or both. I don't mean to lie. I mean, I'm gonna tell you the story what happened.
Okay.
Story, buddy.
Oh my God.
Okay. Okay. But Jonelle, but that's good but at least he's offering, because there's some guys who are just like, well, you just need to deal with that, and that's a you problem. That's not a us problem, or it's not something that I've done. So at least he's saying, hey, come with me. If you don't believe me, if you don't think this is what I'm doing, because there's so many people that break up, get divorced because of trust issues, and that's what it boils down to that we're kind of talking about is, you can't trust that person, and so sometimes it is insecurities, and there is background and there is history there, but that doesn't mean that it has to continue. So Jonelle, when you think about dating or moving forward, what's some advice you would give someone who's concerned about that? Is that important in a marriage or in a relationship?
Yeah, I think so. And I also think I just want to ditto everything that Pastor Kyrus said. Those are my thoughts exactly, as far as, it depends on the relationship, knowing yourself, knowing your partner. If they haven't given you, and this is also for dating, if they haven't given you a reason to not trust them, then don't stress or worry about, well, who's going to be around them when they're not in my presence, and what is he or she, vice versa, going to be doing when they're not in my presence. But I also want to say, just coming from experience, that the security thing starts with you. I think you have to be secure with yourself and who you are as a woman, before you can even start to doubt or stress about what's going on outside of the relationship. Because as women, some women, let me just clarify that, we're often insecure with ourselves. We're insecure with maybe our appearance or our size, or, he might want someone smaller. He might want someone bigger. He might want someone with short hair. He might want someone with long hair. He might want someone that's dark or lighter. So that security starts with you. And if you don't have that for yourself, I don't think you can move forward in a relationship.
That's good. Francine Price said, have you been given a reason not to trust? And that plays a huge role in loyalty and esteem. And thankfully, God is a redeemer. He is a restorer. So we know that, he does redeem and restore, and that trust can be gained back over time, and that God can change things and change people's marriages and their relationships. So all hope is not lost if you're in that situation where the trust has been broken, or you don't feel like you can trust your spouse. But ladies, I want to know, is reassurance of your husband's love something that you like to hear fairly often, or you can't take a lot? Is it too much? Is there a point where you're like, okay, I get it, you love me, now go on about your business? Indy, what do you think? Like, is it needed often, or is that go person by person?
I mean, of course, it's all situational and person by person, but I think you can reassure someone not just with lip service, but with action.
Right.
So following it up is a big thing. And so Proverbs 31:28 says, "Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her." So that's a part of the husband's job to do, is to lift them up, because you don't have to say, "Oh, my love language is words of affirmation," and that might not be your number one, but everybody needs to know that they're doing a good job. I'm right here in here with you. And 1 Corinthians 7:3 says, "Husband should fulfill his marital duties to his wife, and likewise." So if she needs reassurance and you hear her voice that enough, you should know that already, that this is that person's personality, or this is what she's lacking in a certain area. So if you feel like so-and-so is not confident, or even your husband's not confident, I think it's your job to uplift them and say, "Hey, I think you're doing a great job. I think you're on your way, you're on the right track," and all that kind of stuff. So it's really, you don't want someone just to be like, every day it's just like a robot. "I think you look great. I think you look great." You got to switch it up. You got to be creative. You got to figure out how to rephrase that "I love you,"
Right.
instead of just being like, "Good morning, I love you." "Good morning, hello, hey, beautiful. I'm so glad you're up. I'm thankful for another day we get to spend with each other." So it's just different things. You have to back it up, and not just with lip service, but with action.
Right, because
Amen.
I was reading a post the other day, and someone said verbal communication is the least of the form, and that it should be shown, and it should be actually done and acted out, and acted out upon. But I don't think there's ever enough. Like, there's no amount that's too much. When it comes to showing affection or making sure that person is loved the way that they receive love, especially because there's so many things that can get lost in translation and just the day to day, and how people actually feel about themselves. Now, my whole thing with insecurities is this: if the person has an insecurity, there is no amount of affection, words of affirmation, loyalty, communication, gifts, time spent that I can actually do to really fill that emptiness and that void. Because that's something that you do need to let the Lord heal. Because if you spend your life trying to fill someone's insecurities, that's deep rooted. So you'll be there all day trying to make sure that they know their value and their worth. And while we can affirm that, the confirmation of that really comes from God and the Bible. So there's a lot that, ladies and gentlemen out there, don't stress yourself trying to be everyone's everything all and all, because it's not possible, and it's not realistic, and it can get tiring, so, and it's not fair. It's not fair to put that expectation on people either.
Yeah.
Pastor Kyrus, is there too much? Because I know Deacon Brian is the affectionate one. He's the hugger, the kisser. But look at him. Don't roll your eyes at him. But the truth is, he's the affectionate one. Is there ever too much affection, or just affirmation and reminding?
Well, I don't think so. And the thing is, you know who your partner is, you know who your significant other is. So he's going to be whoever he's going to be. And you got to think about it. We've been together a long time. So evidently I had to like it at some point. So for me to sit here and say, "Oh my God, this is too much," whatever. We all know I'm just joking, because that's probably, that is one of the things I loved about him, because he was an affectionate person, and he did show you that he cared all the time. And it wasn't just a lot of lip service. He actually would show you. So I can't say that it's, women say they don't like stuff like that, but they really do like it. They're laughing somewhere, all happy about it. We might act like we don't, but we do. So.
Okay, John, what do you think?
I'm more of an action person. I don't necessarily have to hear the words "I love you" all the time or every day. and I'm just to be honest with you, I'm better now, but before, and it came from my insecurities. It came from my defensive wall that I would put up. My thing is, okay, you said it, but do I really believe it?
Right.
The actions, you know what I mean? Because my thing is this, Bree, you can tell me that you love me and then 2 minutes later become a monster. You understand?
Right.
That's true.
Right there, I'm like, that's not love. You understand? So I would rather you show me, I don't know, just smile when you come in and not look so evil. Give me a hug and just, I can feel that warmth and that love and an embrace more than I can believe you say the words that you love me. That's just me, and that's something. Now that we're talking about it, I pray that that's something going forward that I can do better with when someone tells me that they love me. Because to be honest with you, the only person that can tell me as far as a male figure is my dad. For instance, he sent me a text today and it was like, breaking news, I love you. And I'm just like, oh my God. You know what I mean? It's like, I believe him. I believe him when he tells me, because, for my dad, that's someone that I felt would never break that covenant of security and keeping me safe and making me feel safe. But once that's been broken in a relationship, it's kind of hard, to get back. So to answer your question, actions for me, it's something I feel more secure with.
Radia said, I want to hear it, I want to see it, and I want to experience it. Right. I need all of them.
Bree, but I can like speak like what Pookie's saying about her dad saying he loves her, but I'm the opposite. Like I'm not gonna believe everything everybody says, but since Daddy said it so much and everything, and that's how I grew up. That's all I know. So if you get off the phone and you don't say, I literally can hear, all right, love you, bye. I can hear love you, bye, instead of I love you. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You say love you to a friend. You say, I'm like, then I answer with, who do you love? Or who loves who, So I'll literally break it down like that, because I think when you need reassurance, or you are reassuring a person, because it checks the temperature. It's a temperature like gauge in the relationship, because relationships can plateau, and you want to make sure that I'm just not living with a roommate and we're not just raising these kids together. So you do want to see, like, if your partner always reassured you, or and it shouldn't be something that's taxing. It should be something that's genuine. If they always reassured you and then now they're not, that's something to look into. Like, what's going on here?
That's true. And I could see that. So when we talk about that, can a wife be, from the gentleman, can a wife be overly sensitive if she wonders about her husband's commitment, particularly with him being in the presence of females or just different things? And, even with social media, does that make a woman sensitive if she's concerned? Deacon Brian, you want to go first?
All right. I mean, there's genuine reason to be concerned sometimes, because these women out here, some of these women out here, they are rough. You got to have the full armor of God on to fight them all. You got to have the full armor. I mean, the guys out here know what I'm talking about.
And the belt of truth.
You can tell them you're married. You can have everything, and they just keep on going. So I say the best thing to do, is to stay prayed up. You know what I mean? Reassure your wife as much as you can. But on the same token is, she's got to be sweet, special, and loving, kind, and sharing too. You know what I mean? Because it's tough. No. I'm just saying, because sometimes.
Wait a minute.
I'm saying sometimes, I don't like to walk out of the house without saying I love you. But sometimes through the night, she could have been the devil in the red dress. You know what I mean? I'm like, hold on. So I got to practice making sure that I keep it real. Say, I love you anyway, because I know, God, you got to change it through the night sometimes, because this can be tough.
Why is this a thing?
Because I got to stick in there with her. So I'm saying right now, you got to make sure you show them reassurance.
Oh, my God.
But so you're saying it doesn't make her sensitive, but there could be more reassurance if your spouse is making it easier to love. But I'm saying does that make her sensitive if she's concerned? Or is it something that you just have to man up and do? Because in all honesty, I shouldn't have to. I don't feel like as a woman I should have to reach, search, and grab to figure out if you love me or you don't, and dig and dig and dig. It's your job to make sure that I'm secure in this relationship. Now, all other insecurities I need to handle with the Lord. But between me and you, I do think, there's nothing wrong with making sure your spouse is secure. Is that what you're saying, Daddy? You can. It doesn't make her sensitive.
That's
but
exactly
it's
what I'm
easier
saying.
to close your eyes to sin if she's nice at home.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is,
that's not the Bible.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying also, you got to see the big picture. It's always good to reassure them and not have them make them feel jealous or they don't want to feel. But everybody's human. So when you're human, you're gonna have. I can see a nice looking guy. I know a nice looking guy out there. And she like turn around, look twice, but what the world going on? But I say, hey, he's a nice looking guy, so I understand. You know what I mean? What I'm saying. She's not going home with him, so I said, okay. But back in the day, I was a little sharper than that, boy. I won't plan that.
Oh God! Oh God!
Mommy, you were doing double takes?
Sure, yes. Act like she didn't see nothing.
Okay, but Daddy, were you doing triple takes or are you doing double takes too?
No. I was using the mirror in the car. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I was not doing any double takes.
Oh my gosh.
I was always showing respect. But I'm trying to tell you, women, you definitely want to make sure that they feel respect and love, know that they're the only ones. Because it's hard out here, and these women out here are tricky. So I understand sometimes if she needs a little more reassurance.
Well, Gary Sprewell said you're the best, and Carlton said, "No, I think it doesn't. I think it's overly. I don't think it's overly sensitive." Thank you, Carlton. We had a question before we go to Aaron. Shenard said, "How big should your patience be in a relationship?" So, how much patience is actually needed in a relationship?
It depends on if you're married. If you're married, if you're married, especially when there's kids and stuff involved too. You have to stick in there, hang in there, pray, and just be resilient. You know what I mean? Anybody can be a quitter. It takes a man to stand. So don't just give up. Hang in there. You made this arrangement. Hang in there. Pray for it.
Okay, Radia said, "Watch out for the greener grass over the fence. You can jump if you want to." I know that's right.
Right, the grass is always greener where you water it, but I always like to say the grass is greener where I'm at.
Okay. Aaron, what's your thoughts? Do you feel that if you have to send some reassurance and some affirmation to your spouse in the eyes of the public? And Aaron, this is really good because Aaron's also a musician, so there's so many different places and traveling and different experiences that he's had and going to other countries with missions and things like that Aaron's done, and he's been in relationships during those times. So Aaron, what is something like, do you think that makes your spouse overly sensitive? Why are you laughing, Aaron?
Chill.
Aaron,
what event comes to mind? Unmute yourself, Aaron.
Tell the truth.
Aaron,
home.
Aaron, do you think it makes him overly sensitive?
Huh? Woo! Woo!
Aaron, answer the question.
Oh man. Do I feel like it makes women overly sensitive? That's the question, right?
Aaron, if you don't answer this daggone question.
Now, I honestly, I don't. I'll say this. I think you just have to get a rein on it. I think there is a thing. You can
put a ring on it?
No, there's been times, if you get questioned as a man, right? I'll say this. If you get questioned as a man, I think so the whole book is about love and respect, right? So
right.
when we as men get questioned, especially if you're doing the right things, right? It makes you feel disrespected. Like, dang, this girl is not seeing all the stuff that I'm doing already. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like she's just kind of taking for granted the stuff that I've already did and not appreciating what I've already done, in a sense of like showing her that I respect her and all this kind of stuff. So that's the one thing. Like, it can initially, if you don't step back and think about it before you speak, it can make you feel like, dang, why are you being so overly sensitive? Why are you not noticing the little things that I do already? But I will also say too, then there's this plot, it seems like, in society to make people not jealous for their significant others. And I do believe that there is such thing as like a holy jealousy, because you know why? Because God says that he is a jealous God. God is, in the Bible, God is a jealous God. And then it also says that we are created in his image. I believe there's a part for us to be wholly jealous, having holy jealousy for our significant others, for our spouse.
Right.
I'm not saying going off the deep end with some crazy mess or nothing like that, but I'm saying it's okay for you to yearn and know and want to know that you are the only special person. You know what I mean? And society will try to make you feel like, oh, well, you should be okay with your husband sleeping all around or whatever, or you should be okay with having threesomes and all this crazy stuff in your bedroom and bringing other women in or bringing other men in, whatever. You should be okay. You shouldn't be bothered by any of that because the truth is society has been hurt themselves. They're trying to numb the pain. But what happens is when you start trying to numb the pain, you actually cut off part of your ability to really truly love and experience the relationship like God wanted you to experience that relationship. Because if you start saying, well, I don't care if he kisses another girl, or I don't care if she kisses another guy, then that's you in your heart that you are cutting part of your love off for your significant other. That it might seem like it's stopping you from being hurt, but it's also stopping you from giving out that love. So I think that's part of the whole issue here. But I will say, I think it's so important for your wife to feel, and husbands, everybody needs to feel that they are loved and respected and wanted and yearned for, because I just believe that's so important. I think it's something that we all need to be intentional about. And intentional means even when you don't feel like it, I don't know what you got to do, but maybe you got to write it in your calendar, once every week or once, 2 every week, just a little reminder that pops up on your phone. Say something encouraging, say something nice, because also I will say too, when you're living with someone or whatever, it's so easy to joke about everything or joke. We all like to sometimes joke like we don't care about stuff or being rude to each other. But the Bible tells us to continually say the things that are uplifting and encouraging, because I also believe that those moments where we kind of continually joke on each other or say negative things on each other, it changes the atmosphere around a little bit in your household, and it allows room for questions to be brought in, because it's easier to joke about stuff and be negative about stuff than it is to say nice and positive stuff, a lot of times, and encouraging things. So I just think it's really important to be intentional about that. I think women need it. I think men need it. And I think
that's good.
We like I said, I think being intentional is the best word I have for that one.
And Job says, Job 31:1, he said, I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a young woman. So it's even biblical that making a covenant and seeing that, hey, I'm making it a point. I'm doing my very best to be determined to make sure that, look, I'm not going to look lustfully. I'm not going to break any type of covenant or have any type of, issues come. Now, if there's issues outside of just you as an individual, we know, like we talked about, the insecurities or the trust or just different things are being taken advantage of, being manipulated. Like, that's a big thing. Those are things that people are facing on a daily basis. But there's nothing wrong with affirming a person and saying, look, I'm doing my very best over here. And even Job said it back then. I made a covenant not to look lustfully at other women, and you don't put yourself in a situation. And Tremaine has said, just wrote in the comments about bringing up things from the past, and women can be suspicious because of things they've gone through. It is important to leave that baggage, and you can't make someone pay for the last person's mistakes. Martia has a question, and she says, is there a such thing as being complacent in how one is giving reassurance, like it becomes robotic and not genuine? And do you have to consistently relearn your partner, whether married or not? Aaron, I'll ask you second. Janelle, what are your thoughts on that?
I think,
if you don't mind going.
Oh, okay. Well, that kind of goes back to what I was saying before, kind of. Once you're hearing like the I love you or the this or the that, I won't really go into too much detail, but it does just sound like it's just something that's just a consistent, robotic untruth.
Okay.
I'm going to put it that way. As far as relearning your partner once you're married, I think that you're always learning. I don't think it's a thing that you're relearning. I believe that you're always learning your partner. You'll never stop learning your partner until the day you both, go to glory. You're going to learn something every single day. I think that's why it's important for people who are not married and just going, okay, and now that I'm divorced and been divorced now quite some time, and when I do decide that I'm ready to start dating again, I will take my time, as much time as I can take. But because if you move too fast and you don't learn them at all in the beginning, that can cause an issue. But to answer your question, Martia, I think you're always learning. You'll never stop learning your partner. I do believe that some things can become, or you may think that it becomes robotic. I do, but I think that's a judgment call on your end, especially if you're just dating that person. You will know the signs and the do's and the don'ts, and to know when you should move forward and let that partner go. And the same thing for a man too. I don't want to just make this all about a woman and their boyfriend or the person they're dating. I feel like for a young man as well, that a woman can also be robotic and fill your head with things and say things just to try to make you believe them. And that's something that you need to understand and learn as well.
That's good. That's good. Be a robot for me though. While you feeling robotic, if you need some oil to help you keep moving, I will give you some oil, but keep it coming, okay? And you just deal with that later on. Be a robot for me, okay? But I can't understand it feeling like you feel like it's a chore. Indy, what do you think?
Oh, Pastor Kai, you had something to say?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't see that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's robotic. I think it's a genuine thing. If you really love somebody, it doesn't hurt to say I love you or I care about you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's anything that's robotic. I think it's normal. It's a normal thing. And that you just genuinely say it. You might just look at your significant other and just say, I love you for no reason. Or, somebody wakes up in the morning and you say, oh, you look beautiful and I love you. And I'm like, but anyway, but still you accept it because no, but what I'm saying, that person is telling you genuinely because they just love you. They love everything about you. They don't care what you look like in the morning or whenever. They just love you and who you are. But I wanted to say Matthew 6:22 says that the eye is the lamp of the body. So you draw light into your body through your eyes, and light shines out of the world through your eyes. So if your eyes well and it shows what is true, then your whole body is light. But if your eyes clouded or evil, then your whole body becomes sick. So your eyes are the windows to your soul. That's what we heard before plenty of times. And it's true. So if you're out there looking at all kinds of craziness, then it's going to make you start thinking different things and start thinking a different way and start acting different. So that's why it's so good when Job is saying, hey, I made a covenant with my eyes so that my eyes won't look other places.
Right.
So that was the reason he said it, because if it gets into your eyes, then it gets into your soul and it gets into your mind, and you're going to start thinking about that other person. Her husband is so fun. Her husband spends time with her, or her husband does this and this, and it makes you think that person is better. But let me tell you, everybody makes somebody sick. Okay, that's all I want to say. You think J-Lo is happy every single day? No. A-Rod getting on her nerves, and she getting on A-Rod's nerves. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say, and that's it.
That's so true though. Mommy would always tell me everybody has something, so it just all depends on what you're willing to put up with.
So true.
You can just compromise for, and not compromise in lowering your standards, but just to like we'll say happy mediums. But also you can get complacent and robotic with your reassurance, because sometimes it can feel like there's a lack of creativity. And also, who I was when I got with you at a certain age, I'm constantly evolving, just like they're constantly evolving. So the things that you used to like in middle school aren't the things that you used to like that now you like in high school. So it's always a journey, and it makes it more fun when you're always reevaluating your relationship and seeing what their interests are. It's great conversation starters, saying, hey, what do you like to do? What is your favorite thing? Like, what is your favorite color now? I know what it used to be, but what is it now? So it just, all those kind of things trigger conversation, but also it makes that other person feel like, dang, they really do care about me. They're really asking me these like open-ended questions to get things started, and we're not just so comfortable riding in the car together in silence. Yeah, the closest of friends, when when you're really close, you don't have to talk all the time to keep the conversation going. But then there's also sometimes that you be thinking, dang, they didn't even ask me, blah blah blah. So I think you can get complacent on accident, but you shouldn't stay there. You should just check your motives and check your spouse and how they're doing. But just like the Bible says, you can't live off of yesterday's bread, and the things you knew about me yesterday, you can't go by off today.
All right.
Well, that's true. And one thing I would say that's really good about Deacon Brian and Aaron is I think just and I have some really great men in my life, and even my pastor, Pastor A, they're great at affirming. And so Indy and I were really blessed to grow up around men that did always affirm us, whether it's our brother, our dad, our uncles, cousins, so we weren't out searching and trying to really find ourselves, because we did grow up knowing who we were. Why? Because we were constantly told who we were. So it's not that words of affirmation isn't needed, or it's not something important, but we also still know we're not going to die if we don't get it, or something happens. But it's just nice to hear. And I think we have grown to know that it's nice to hear, and how it makes you feel, and how it just makes such a huge difference. Because Aaron's great at telling his wife, Kelsey, hey, you look nice, or this, and this, or just their communication. And even though, maybe they're young and married, whatever, they're still married and still trying to, keep that fire burning and keep their love alive. And, my parents have been married for 35 years, so it's never too much. Don't be a robot if you need to be a robot, but just keep saying it until you turn into a real boy again. I don't really know what to say. but I'm just saying, like, and even if we look at Malachi 2, Songs of Solomon 8:6, and it says, place me like a seal over your heart, like a seal on your arm, for love is as strong as death. It's jealousy and enduring as the grave. Love flashes like a fire, the brightest kind of flame. And when we were reading the book, and Dr. Emerson was just using that as an example, he said, how does Song of Solomon catch a wife's deep feelings about needing to always know that her husband is loyal? And when it says like fire, the brightest flame, I'm thinking, make sure that thing is seen like a daggone city on a hill. Like the Lord says, I don't want to have to go searching for it. I don't want to have to beg. I don't want to have to ask. I want to be able to go to sleep at night knowing that I'm not somewhere out being cheated on, and we don't have no problems. Why? Because that's the foundation of our marriage, and something that I can be sure of, and you're wearing it as a badge of honor. And then he goes on to talk about the wedding ring. So my dad works on cars. Deacon Brian, I want to ask you this. You work on cars. So I know wearing a wedding ring for you, like my dad does not always wear his wedding ring. Like we go to church or go out to eat or something like that, he will put it on. He's not against it or anything like, crazy. But if he's kind of inside of a car, you don't want your finger to get stuck and have to cut it off or something strange. So when did you and Pastor Kyrus realize, okay, that the wedding ring is extremely important, and we know that wearing it is important and what it symbolizes, but how do you counsel other couples? And then what did y'all figure out so that it wasn't an issue when it came to loyalty and esteem of having that badge and saying, hey, I'm taken? Like, how did y'all handle that?
Well, she would always say, well, because my wedding ring has a diamond on top of it. So I said, I can't wear it because it's going to knock the diamond off, or my hand may get caught in somebody's car and do some damage. So she said, well, I'm going to get you a band. So I said, well, get a band if you like. But then I said to myself, it doesn't matter what you're wearing if your heart is not right, So it's either you're gonna trust me and believe, or you're not, because a wedding ring, is not gonna stop anything if bad intentions are met.
Okay, I'll agree that to a certain point, but at the end of the day, wear your dang ring. Okay, so now they came out with these little rubber rings. He still ain't wearing one. So my thing is, I get it.
He's drinking his drink.
But the thing is this: when we first got married, that was a big problem and a big discussion about why he couldn't wear it and why he wasn't wearing it. So my thing is this: let somebody know, let them see that diamond from across the room that you are already taken. They ain't got to come over there and ask no questions. So wear your dang ring. That's all I'm saying. But then I understand that, he worked on a lot of cars and all this other stuff. Well, And now he says, well, you know, Kyrus, everybody know I'm married. Everybody know I'm married, Kyrus. You know, but my thing is, where your dang ring?
It's a good icebreaker.
No, it's not a good icebreaker.
What? Wait, sweet baby Jesus. Hold on, man. Wait a minute. But okay, so Aaron, I know Aaron. Aaron, what is your take on the wedding ring and just how important that is? And what are your thoughts, Aaron?
I just think it's super important. I think it's just part of the act of reassuring your significant other that you're proud. You know, yeah, I just think it's a big part of really reassuring your significant other. You know, when you walk out of the house with that, like I like to see Kelsey with her ring on. You know what I mean? And she likes to see me with my ring on. So we'll give each other, you know, flack about it if either one of us walks out of the house without a ring on. You know, but it's just a reassuring thing. And I will say to my dad's point, you know, if you really just have bad intentions in your heart, you really could take your ring off while your significant other's not around or not looking. I mean that, right. You know, but I will say, I think it's still super important for your significant other to see you wearing your ring. If you don't have bad intentions in your heart, you know what I mean? Which I don't got no bad intentions. My dad didn't have bad intentions. So it's like, I'm gonna walk out of the house with my ring on. I'm gonna keep my ring on all day, you know. And if there's some work that I'm doing or whatever, I'm gonna take it off for the work, put it back on later or whatever. That's just, you know, everybody's relationship is different or whatever, you know. But I just think it's like I said, I just think it's super important to reassuring your significant other. And I do believe it is an extra guard, you know. It's just kind of like, because maybe the person that was about to walk up and talk to you will see you with this ring on and be like, oh, he's got a ring on. Maybe that's their moral standard right there. They're like, dang, he's got a ring on, you know. So I do think it helps me stay, you know, protected. It helps me have my guard up a little bit. And for the people that are not so bold and brave, it deters them.
Well, I always had to wear my ring though. I could never not have my ring on. So I didn't understand that all the time. Even going to the gym, I needed to wear my ring.
But that's none of my business.
They're beautiful.
No, Dad, remember she cried and died and had to have it.
Had to have the ring. I ain't want no ring.
Okay, but in all honesty, you can wear a ring or not wear a ring, and people will still approach you. And I feel like some people think you're more attractive when you belong to someone else. And I don't know if that's part of the, you know, the chase or the desire to have something that's not easily attainable or not yours, or just whatever the adventure could be. But, you know, the ring really truly does not stop anything. When someone desires to talk to you, I've been in relationships and told someone, hey, I'm in a relationship or I'm dating someone, and they'll say, what's their man got to do with me? And I'm like, and I know that's the song, and I'm just like, he has everything to do with you because he's got to do with me, you know? So, but in all honesty, it does, but people don't respect that. But I do think it in reassuring your spouse, whether your husband or your wife, knowing that we've got this band, this constant covenant, this circle of agreement, it's not easily broken. There's no crack in it, because when you have a ring, and I know that this could be, you know, just looking at the spiritual side of it, putting on something that's solid, that's continually going, you know, even if you look at the rainbow, it's truly a circle. Why? Because it's a covenant agreement. It shows that things are finished, they're done, and this is no longer available. So go ahead with that little circle on. Deacon Brian, I'm gonna get you a string just in case something happens, you know. And that's just, Daddy, you don't have to wear the string. But anyway, but you do see how it changes your spouse's perspective. And like Aaron, like Aaron said, you know, he walks out, said, hey, you know, I have this not because you're insecure or I'm trying to make a point or be funny, but I got your back. I've got us, you know, because it's not really just about one or the other. It's about the union together. And so I just think, I do think the ring is important. I think y'all need to wear it, and, you know, don't leave home without it. Okay. And for the women who are dying to have it, make sure you keep that junk going. Well, Shenard actually had a question, and he had said, this is for the guys. For the fellas, how do you deal with fantasizing of the relationship, like knight in shining armor, Instagram relationship, looking at wedding rings and stuff on Instagram? So how can you deal with a woman or when you're in a relationship and there's a girl who's trying to, she's got a different idea, maybe not so realistic, but just looking at Instagram or social media for what she would desire or thinks a relationship is. How do you deal with the fantasizing about a relationship, I guess, versus, what reality could be?
Well, I used to tell my wife, when you get back from La La Land, look me up.
Don't say that, guys.
I'm just telling them. I'm just saying. Sometimes you have to know your capabilities, because you don't want to be out here trying to woo somebody today and tomorrow you have to eat oodles and noodles because you have bought a big ring and now you can't live in a comfortable manner. So you have to get on the same page with her and let her know what's important. Are we gonna save for the future, or you want to look good for your girls and trying to keep up with the Joneses?
I am the Joneses.
Shanara said, "I'm not that brave." Please don't be that brave, Shanara. It will get you in so much trouble. It's not. He didn't say it either, Shanara.
Amen. Sure did.
He didn't say it
He
either.
did not. Anyway, don't believe that, ladies.
Okay, Aaron, what are you?
Shucks.
He tried to
Okay,
get
Aaron,
whatever
what's
he
your
said.
take on dealing with the fantasizing and just comparing social media relationships versus, real life?
I would say this. I think women out there just need to know that. I think that for when you do that and you express that kind of stuff to your man, and even if you're not doing it intentional sometimes, I do feel that that's like the comparison thing. And it's the same aspect as if your man said, wow, look at that girl. She's got all this, she's doing this, doing that. Why don't you do that for me? And I think it can make men in general, because this book is about love and respect. I think it is another way of stepping on the man's toes and making them feel disrespected. Like you don't appreciate the stuff that I'm giving you, or it makes you feel like, God dang it, I gotta work even harder to get some bull crap that doesn't really mean much. You know what I mean? Like if you're looking just straight at material things, I think material things have their place. But I think it's good for everybody to keep their eye on the real prize. The real prize is not material things. It's the kingdom of God. It's pushing forward for God's kingdom to come true in your life. It's pushing for God's dreams and vision to come true in your life. Because if you're continuing looking at the other people and what other people have, first and foremost, you're not necessarily going to be, content and happy in yourself. And there is a place to be content. And that is one of the calls, I believe, that we are supposed to be content with what we have, content with things we have. Not that we should not pursue and have bigger dreams for bigger things, and that's totally fine. But it needs to be in the right perspective. You know what I mean? So I think it just can be super, especially if you're a man that is maybe you're struggling financially, or maybe you haven't got it all together yet, or whatever. That it's just an added pressure that. I bet you, if you're a woman out there and this is happening with you and your man or whatever, it's pressure that your husband is already feeling, or your significant other's already feeling, because we see what other people have. We see what's happening out there. And most men in general want to provide nice things for their significant other. So it's nice if you, as a woman, take the time to really just be appreciative for the things that he is doing. Not that you can't ever express it, the things that you got, but maybe if you're about to express some things that you're looking at and loving, also express how thankful you are for the stuff that you have at first. Like I said, because I just think it kind of brings extra pressure that society is already giving us all. Society is making us all, there's a temptation out there to be very materialistic, and so that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be seeking the kingdom first, and all the other things will be added to it. So when you're dealing with, I guess hopefully I'm trying to answer your question, Shanara. But anyways, I think in dealing with that, I would just say, I think there is a need maybe to express that. I don't know if that's happening in your relationship or not. But either way, I just think it's nice to just open up about it and be like, look, I see the stuff that everybody else is having or whatever, but we can't be comparing our relationship to everybody else. And that's in general. Like, comparison is a killer. It will kill the things that you have. It will make you stop loving and enjoying and being thankful for the things that you already have, because there's somebody else out there, you might not know it, but like there's somebody else out there that's wishing they had what you have, so
Right.
so comparison's a killer in every sense. So
But and I know this was for the fellas, and B Lou, welcome. B Lou just got back.
B. Lou?
Brian, where Shenard had asked a question. Well, first of all, to Deacon Brian's advice, Martia said, Shenard, try me if you want to with a flame. So Shenard, I don't know, you need to choose wisely. But Brian, Shenard was saying, how do you deal with dating a girl or being with someone who's fantasizing and kind of just comparing maybe real life situations to Instagram world or what they're seeing, and just when it comes to rings and relationships and things like that. So how do you deal with I mean, I know Indy's not really like that, so I don't know how you would say it, but what would you tell someone who's kind of dealing with somebody who's doing a lot of comparison, you know?
So that's the thing that I think sucks the most about social media and all that kind of stuff. Because back in the day, before they had social media, people didn't, it wasn't so easy to compare yourselves and everything like that to other people. And I've struggled with that myself. Besides, like, the ring or marriage or anything, I've struggled with, seeing like other personal trainers out there, maybe having their own gym already or stuff like that, and how they're living their life. So I say just focus on doing what you can do, and however much money you make, whatever your goals are, do what you can. And I'm not gonna, I didn't put a ring on Indy's finger because I saw other people had big rings and I just wanted to give her a big ring because someone else did. I just did it because I saved money the way I could and got her the biggest thing that I could afford. So just focus on how much money you make and what you can do and your goals. So
yeah, and I also think it's important that if you start comparing yourself, you literally can see on say based on social media, you can literally see your own well-being start to go down, like how you got on there, and while you're scrolling, then you get on your sister's, mother's, brother's page, you're like, dang, I'm really not living a good life, and you start to really be it's like you're ungrateful. Because you're comparing. And I've always told him, it's just like having a nice purse with no money in it. I'm very much about security. So I'm like, hey, I know you're saving up to buy a nice ring, and I really, trust and believe you. That's why, like, one of the first things, like, when he proposed, I was like, you kept your word, so I'm very much about that. And so when he would save up for that ring, I said, hey, make sure your finances are right, because I don't want to walk around on this earth with a nice ring and you're not in a good situation. I wouldn't even feel proud to wear that ring. I would feel like, how can we pawn some stuff off or do whatever? I would feel so stressed out. So when you get on social media and you start comparing, you're just seeing the highlight reel anyway. Those pictures that you see, that was number 99 in the vault, and they figured it out. Like, there's, even with him and I, like, things can look great. We might have argued while we were taking that picture. And I was like, you don't really know. You don't know what's going on, but that's the truth. I'm like, why are you getting these angles? But then people see the better of it, and they're like, oh, I want that. But you don't know what can come with it, or what's deep down going on in certain relationships, because Instagram isn't really real.
So Martia said, just to clarify, I'm not comparing. I just have standards. And that's what I wanted to say too. I agree with that, because we do sometimes, maybe we don't have our own idea, and then you do see the people that are older than you, do different things, or you see a wedding or whatever. And so while you don't have to do it exact, if that's something that I see that I like, we can't always talk about it. You don't have to make sure it's exact or the same exact thing, or covet someone else's blessings or lust after something else. But if you have standards, we can always talk about that and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is something that I like. This is what I thought about. And it does take security in your relationship and knowing that person's heart. Because Rondell said, when people do comparisons, it shows you where their head is at and where their mind is or whatever. But I think a conversation could follow, because why, we're different people. So to you, my standards could be extravagant. It could be going after somebody else's thing, or you could say, oh, you've been just watching too much TV, or oh, it's just a fairy tale to you, or whatever the case is. But that's when you have to know the person and know how they care about you, and know what their thoughts are, and just their heart towards you too. Aaron, what are you even laughing at, Aaron?
I was gonna agree with you, but I was laughing at my dad because he put his finger up too. He had something to say too. But I'm just gonna say something quick. I just think that the standards are fine to have, but I will say you need to take note of what level you're at. If you're somebody that's my age, I mean, and unless I'm a doctor, we ain't. I mean, unless you're a doctor and you already got everything in life together, I think there's step by step to getting those things. And I think you have to show if you're a woman, and even if you're a man that is like, I want this, I want that, whatever. I think each person needs to show that, hey, I'm still waiting. I believe in you, husband or wife. I believe in you. I'm willing. I'm right here in the fight with you. I'm ready to be patient with this. Yes, that is stuff we're putting it on our dream board. And I'm not mad at you for not giving it to me just yet, but yes, eventually I would like that kind of stuff. And I know that you want to give it to me. I'm just saying, because it just can make men, it's such a pressure on men in these days to produce all this great grand stuff that you're seeing on TV. And it's not like we're oblivious to Instagram and all that stuff. So all I'm saying is the standard that you do have, maybe make small goals for the place and the level that you're at in your relationship right now. As at this age, all right, we could probably work towards this. We can work towards that. We can work towards that. Whatever our pay grade is, we can work towards this. But I mean, don't keeping up with the Joneses will keep you broke too. You know what I mean? If you don't allow yourself to be budgeted, and one of my favorite quotes too was, what is it? Rich people stay rich by acting poor, and poor people stay broke by acting rich. You know what I mean? There is a place for budgeting and being consistent with your budget and being diligent with that. Because what's the verse in Mark 4:28 says, all by itself the soil produces grain, but first the stalk, then the head, then the full kernel in the head. So it's basically saying things take time. It takes stages to get to the different places. So be patient. I'm just saying that I get that you got standards out here, women. That's awesome. But, have standards, but with belief in your husband or significant other as well, and show that belief and reaffirm them that, hey, I believe in you. I know where we're at. We gonna get it.
Don't lower your standards, but just make sure y'all on the same page. Deacon Brian.
Okay, I'm all for certain standards, but to me, you got to have a standard of how much this person loves you and cares for you. You got to have a standard in yourself. Well, I'm not going to have sex before I get married. You have to have standards of, this guy's really checking for me, and I know down the road, if he loves me, and he does love me, he's going to prepare, and make something happen for my goals. You know what I mean? But, you can have certain desires, and I have friends of mine that have a lot of money, but they're still single and they can't keep a woman because their heart's not right. You know what I mean? So you may get a lot of stuff for a little while, but after you're used and abused, and you're out, on the street crying, and he's still moving on, and your status was met, but you lost the big goal.
And I also think, I think all of that's great too, but you just really have to know who you're with, and if it's worth the wait to you, because you can have standards and you want to make sure that people are doing the right thing. But if you feel like you're losing yourself in the meantime, then it's time to go, because no one should shoot you down for your standards, especially when you're presented with how Daddy and Aaron said it and everything like that. But you really have to know who you're getting with. And one thing I will say, when it's in someone's means to do better, but they just won't do better, that's a whole other issue.
Yes.
Because I understand that quote you're saying, rich people stay rich by acting poor, but also that can be a stingy mindset as well. Of course, the poor can act rich and they're trying to keep up with the Joneses and everything, but when it's in someone's ability to do better and they just won't, that goes along the line of selfishness, not caring about you. And when it comes time to buckle down and have a wife and kids in a relationship, things might not last as long as they could, because that person's mindset is to take everything in all the time. And it's important to guard yourself against those types of things. And it says in the Bible, when you have your hand out, you get more, but when you close your hand, you lose a lot more.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so then on this topic, let's ask, ladies, would you rather have a Mercedes or a little rock with a sentimental message inscribed on it? Emerson does talk about this, and just how, women truly cherish the rock. You know, they cherish because there was a situation where a couple was on a walk, and so they were just, you know, out in nature, and the husband, I think the next day, actually found a stone or a smooth stone, and he wrote a small message on it, and it was something maybe he had picked up on their walk, or just something that was thoughtful. Jonelle, are you looking for the Mercedes, or would you rather have the rock with the sentimental message?
Well, actually, I want the Beamer, the BMW, and the rock.
Okay.
No, really, I would rather have the rock, Bree,
Yeah.
because I feel like that rock and the message on the rock or what have you is more sentimental and something that I can cherish and just hold dear to me. And I think it's priceless. The car, yeah, you know, it's a car. And just depending on your spouse, it goes back to maybe one of the other chapters in the book as far as what your love language is. Their spouse love language may be just buying you material things to show their love, you know?
Right.
And for me, that's not what makes me tick. It's the little things, the rock with the message, not necessarily anything big, car. I mean, of course, it's nice. And I mean, really, who wouldn't want it? Or if you got it, it's like, oh, great, thank you. But what comes after that and what's behind it? But again, I just want to make this clear. That depends on the relationship, not anything else. Just depends on the relationship that you're in, the person that you're dealing with. That's what it depends on. So this is coming from a place of, if you're dealing with someone whose love language is just to give you material things to make up for something, or they can't show you love in any other type of way, I would rather have the rock with the message to hold dear to my heart.
Okay. And Tremaine said, how are you going to get to work with just the rock? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Let me say this, okay? I'm understanding the question, Bree.
Oh boy.
If I already have a car,
right? If you already have a car,
and I'm already getting to and fro,
right?
Okay?
To and fro.
Give me the rock with the message. I don't need another car. I don't need that Benz. That's what I'm. Jermaine, you know what we're saying.
But you know, Martia said one thing I can't stand is lavish gifts from a hollow person, and that's so true. Andy, what would you rather have, the rock or the Mercedes?
Well, I will just preface it with this. We've all had nice things one time or another in our life, and then they do wear off, especially when that person acts like a jerk or something like that. It really means nothing to them. I'll also say that we do live, I'll call it, just for lack of a better term, we live by littles. There's the little things in life daily. Just like he could take me on a trip and he could be thinking that we're doing good, but when we get back home or before the trip, things weren't that great. So it's the little things daily, and then you get the boom, the big thing like the car. But you know, just him bringing me flowers or that rock or just little things that I liked. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was thinking about you. Here's a pack of Skittles, and I'm like, oh, that's so great because those are one of my favorite things. You know, that's a symbol of, like, say, the rock or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I mean, true. I'm always about a big car, but if you making me so mad that I gotta leave in the middle of the night to go cool off in that big car, then, you know, that nice car, then it really doesn't mean anything. It just serves as a reminder that, oh yeah, you got me this thing, but it really doesn't mean anything because you don't really care about me. But I mean, I would take both. So.
I told her that I'd put the rock on the car seat. So why can't you just scribble on the rock?
You scribble on the rock. You're supposed to scribble on the rock. Yeah, but either way, I would rather. I get the thing about the rock and the sentimental value in it because we live through the little things daily, and it's the little things that count that build up a whole mountain. So I'd take the car and the rock.
Pastor Kyrus, after 35 years, are you taking the rock or are you taking the car?
I'm taking the rock.
She'll throw the rock at my car. I'm not giving her no rock. Ask her that question.
No, really, because the most important thing is to make sure you have that person's heart. So I would take the message any day because he sent me some edible arrangements one time at work, and he put this message on it, and I actually framed it because it just shows that I still got your heart, boo, even though you act up and act like I don't, but I do. So to me, I like that better because it still lets me know that my how my relationship is with him, and then no matter what's going on, he can buy me a car, and he knows how I feel about a car. I'll be like, that thing might get old pretty soon. I ain't cared about the car like that. The most important thing is for me to have his heart. But if you want to give me a new Benz, I will take it. But the most important thing really is to make sure I have his heart, and the message and what the message says is really important.
Mommy, a lot of times, remember when you'll say, you'll start like you'll drive a car for a second, but then when y'all start to make those car payments,
I don't like it no more. Now, if you give me one that don't have no payments to it, I'll go ahead and take it. But after I got to make that second car payment, I don't want that car.
Well, but it does show that it's thoughtfulness.
Oh yeah.
But just being thoughtful about the person and showing that you do value them, showing that they are important to you, showing that you do esteem them, you care about them. They are first and foremost in your life, So I think it could go both ways because I'm very sentimental, and in a minute. Now I'm a giver. I'll give away whatever I need to give. The Lord says give it away. So I'm not as sentimental as in I'm holding on to something and making it an idol, but I care about the little stuff. Why? Because that's how it is. When they talk about God being the chief cornerstone, that's where our foundation starts, is when you start building that thing up. And you talk about a rock. If you want to get spiritual, the solid rock, a foundation. So when everything else crumbles, on that rock you have inscribed, just as how you really feel about me. There's a song called When the Bones Are called The Bones, and it's talking about when the bones are good, the rest doesn't matter. And you could go through storms, when the bones of a house, when the framework is done and it's good, it does not matter what else is happening. So I'm going to take the rock. And because you love me and I was happy about that rock and really didn't care, then when we get home from our walk, I'm praying that the Mercedes is in the driveway too. No. But in all honesty, there's nothing wrong with having nice things. So we're not saying that not to aspire to have nice things, don't have goals or anything like that. But the heart of the matter is having your spouse's heart, like Pastor Kyrus said, and knowing that they're in there with you, and that through when stuff gets tough, we got each other's back, and it just makes such a big deal. And I care about the rock, and I'm gonna probably get it framed like Pastor Kyrus got that little. She has it framed, y'all, right by her sink in a nice little diamond frame, and it's beautiful. But I'm just saying, I understand, and I think the message said, what did you say? What does the message say, Pastor Kyrus? Do you know it exactly? I think it's like, out of all the finds in the park, you are the best. You're a needle in a haystack, or I got the best find in the park that day.
You didn't write that?
Yes, Daddy did say that. He got the best.
Where did you get that from?
He wrote that. He wrote that and said he got the best find in the park that day, and it was like finding a needle in a haystack. So I mean, when we think about it, it is about love. It is about being on the same page. It's about just knowing that person has got you, because I don't really care about how big your bank account is if you are treating me like terrible. There's so many women and men out there who live this lavish life and they're empty. They don't have the love. They don't have the support. So I just want to say, keep your dreams, keep your standards high, but also don't forget that the main thing is love, because when everything else fades and goes away, and shoot, you're in a pandemic. Some people might not even really see that Mercedes unless you go by in a parade.
I'm stopping by houses, ringing doorbells. I'm here.
Oh, Pastor Adrian said, I wrote that for you, Bern. I wrote that crap for Bern. You're welcome.
I knew it. I figured you did.
Yeah, my brother did.
But
my God.
Oh my gosh. Would you mind praying us out, Indy? Well, no, Jonelle, do you mind praying us out today? Would that be okay if you did? I know I didn't tell you this last minute, but I like to throw you on the spot.
Okay. Dear Lord, we come to you, Lord God, with worship, praise, and thanksgiving, Lord God. I thank you for the panel guests, Lord, and the vessels being used right now with their gifts and experiences, Lord God. I ask and pray for all those listening and participating in this this broadcast, Lord, that you would bless their relationships, bless their marriage, Lord God, and just bless us all. Keep us safe and protect us, Lord God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Good job, sister. Oh my gosh, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Live with Kyrus. I hope everybody has a blessed week, and we'll see you right here back again next Wednesday at 7. I'm Kyrus, your host, and these are my wonderful guests. We love you. God bless you. Have a wonderful day tomorrow.
That's simple love. It's the back rubs and kisses in the evening, and the silly things you say just to make me laugh. Look me in the eyes and say you'll never leave me. Give me love, give me a girl, yeah. It's my t-shirt you wear when you're sleeping. It's the way the moonlight hits your silhouette. Love you till my heart stops beating. Give me love, oh yeah. I need love, yeah. You give me that simple